Is everybody's channel recording? I
Yeah.
see mine.
Yeah. The only one that's off is Ian's.
Okay.
Nathan, go and say something.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, it picked
Awesome.
up. I saw the crosstalk, so we're good.
Okay.
You okay over
I
there?
saw myself.
So I don't know how often all of you go by Arby's or not. Hashtag not a sponsor.
No, just pull the string. Don't punch the light. That would be very painful.
Thanks for pulling the lever.
That wasn't old man enough. That you need to work on your like grunts.
Oh, he's dude.
sore.
He's already sore.
That was more of a sigh. That wasn't a grunt.
No, go ahead and give him a TLDR what you were doing this weekend.
Well, Saturday I was grumpy because I didn't get to do the thing that I did on Sunday that I wanted to do on Saturday because of the weather, and
Go
it
to
was
church?
being dumb. Not that. I was planning on working on my car this weekend, and so I had to push it to Sunday. So I was underneath my car taking stuff apart and putting stuff on for 7 hours, and doing it, on a concrete driveway.
Is this the Mustang?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
Do you have it on like ramps or a lift, or you
I
just
have it
jack
on
it
jack
up?
stands. Yeah. So
You gotta get yourself some ramps, dude.
Wait a minute. Where
No,
on your driveway?
actually, no.
Where
don't
on
do
your
ramps.
driveway do you have it?
it's in my neighbor's driveway.
Oh.
So yeah, no, that's been one of my apprehensions about things is my driveway is a mountain. Well, may as well be. It's
the side of a mountain.
big ramp. And my neighbor's driveway is very flat. And so I'm borrowing half of his driveway while I'm doing this.
Mind you, that driveway he's borrowing, the neighbor rents.
Yeah. It's not leaking anything anymore, so I mean, it's
Did you at
fine.
least put a tarp down before you did this?
No.
Okay.
Did you really work on your car if there isn't a new layer of oil stains wherever you were?
No, legitimately.
Yeah.
I've been pretty good.
Those are on the street where I park it in front of my house.
There you
Nice.
go.
Now,
But
then yesterday I also worked on it for another like 4 hours after work.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
So-
you learned the valuable lesson of like you said, oh, this will take me like 4 hours at most. It shouldn't be
I
that.
said 4 to 6 to be fair,
I told you it was going to be 8.
and you were very wrong. We were both very, very wrong.
Even adding your numbers, you were very
yeah,
wrong.
Well, I thought
ran
you
into some things.
I
Well,
thought
to
you
be
were a little more mechanical and
it's
ready
not,
for this.
Well, to be fair, it took me a while to get it jacked up because I was getting the way that, without getting into too much detail, there's not very many options on that car. And even the ones they give you suck because it's like, there's these 4 main points that you can jack it up on.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that's where you need to put the jack stand, but it's also where you need to jack it up. So you can't do both at the same time. But then they
Nice.
also tell you that there's like the very edge of the tub, the bottom of it, there's a seam. And it's like, oh, well, that's a jack point too. That's where they actually recommend that you jack it up from on the road, like when you're changing a tire.
Mm-hmm.
So I like tried that, but then it started bending. And it's like, that's not good.
Nope.
So I stood around thinking and looking and messing and doing. I'd spent about 2 hours just getting it like jacked up on the jack stands. Which also I tried to use I got the bigger jack stands from Harbor Freight, the 6-ton ones.
Mhm. And you're realizing how tall 6-ton jacks are. Yeah.
And I ended up not using them because I literally couldn't get it up high enough to get them under
You
there.
need to have the Hulk come by and like.
So
Lift
so
up your
it's
car
Oh,
fun.
and
come
yeah.
on. If I got the Lincoln on the 6-ton.
If you had come by, you would have seen. But,
Okay.
But no,
I
you had
almost
stuff to do.
I'm sorry that I went to a very amazing pop-up
And then
concert.
And then I had the massive disappointment at the end of the day at the end of the night on Sunday because this guy, because I didn't get the notification and you got it from somebody else
Yep.
late. About the All American Rejects concert that I really wanted to go to, but it was like you had just gotten
A wristband.
for the second show.
Yep.
That started at like 11.
Yeah, that should have. Yeah, not till 11
This was at
on a
7
Sunday night.
This was
Wow.
at 7:30, I believe, that he told me, and I was filthy from working on a car, like a grease all over my hands and arms. So I had to like put tools up, go take a shower, get dressed, and leave and go 15 minutes away.
and
it's just-
stand in line for
And
4
stand in line.
hours.
He said there's like 2-3 blocks of people like in line still behind him. Like there's no way. So I was like, well, have fun, but
I had fun. It was a
Anyway.
good time.
so that's
So
wh-
you were feeling
that's
like
why
an
I'm sore.
all-American rejected, is what you're saying. So how about Arby's, Nathan?
Yes. I hate how accurate that was.
Did so
Well played, sir.
a little PSA. They currently now when by the time this airs, I don't know if they'll still have it, but they have their version of a Philly cheesesteak right now.
Ooh.
Okay.
I've not had a chance to eat it yet, but it looks.
Did you see they brought the potato cakes back?
I have consumed them many times.
That was the
Yes.
dumbest thing that they ever got rid of.
Agreed.
I swear. Like whoever was in charge of that, I hope they're fired.
Agreed.
Well, it was like that same time when McDonald's took away their hash browns.
Mm-hmm.
Because like that was also one of the dumbest ideas ever. Because like that's what I used to get was the egg sausage biscuit. You get a hash brown with it. Put that on the Sammy, and you get a small coffee, and like it was like cheap.
That's got to be one of the cheapest things on the to make on the menu. Not
Yeah.
necessarily the cheapest things for the customer, but like it's potato.
And they come just frozen.
Yeah.
like, you just put them in the fryer.
Like there's
That's it.
not some Joe Schmo back there peeling the potatoes and then cutting them in those triangles and then frying them up and everything. There's a bag, dump them in there. call it
They're
good.
not even bags. They come in like sleeves, and you dump the sleeve in.
That too. Even easier.
But yes, there you go.
Philly cheesesteak.
Yes.
I'm still really partial to the gyro. I really like the gyro.
Fair enough.
Their Euros
I
are good.
tried their new burger the other day and it was okay.
It's
It
okay.
was not. There was nothing to write home about. It wasn't terrible.
It's not bad. It's definitely not bad.
But I should have gotten the gyro.
Yeah, burger's not really a specialty of. I mean, that's not a thing that like Arby's has been
They have the meats.
known for. Yeah,
They don't necessarily have the
ground meats.
other things to make
Now
the meats into
True.
something
they
else.
also did bring. I've not.
Cheese. They can do cheese.
Yeah.
That's the
I've
thing.
not tried this yet either, but they did also bring back the chicken cordon bleu.
Mm.
Have they
Okay.
brought back all the rest of the market fresh sandwiches yet, or do they
No.
still just have? Why did they get? I used to love getting the turkey and Swiss.
Yeah.
Like that was like
Just
forgot
like on the
about that
wheat
one,
bread
go-to.
kind
Yeah.
of thing. Is that what you're talking about?
What now?
Like it's on the wheat bread. It's the
Yeah,
and the
yeah,
sandwich.
yeah.
Yeah.
But now
I didn't realize they got
and
rid
it's
of
not
those.
bad, but like the only one they have now is the the bacon ranch or the
Turkey bacon ranch.
turkey bacon ranch, which is fine.
It's good.
But like there was something. I guess it was maybe the sauce or there's something about the turkey Swiss that was just is more fresh. It just felt like more
Their
like a
their
fresh sandwich.
seasonal. Yeah, it was always seasonal, but their seasonal chicken salad sandwich
Okay, yeah,
was incredible.
yeah. I think I've had that.
So
before.
good.
I think the thing I was still mad about that they got rid of, and it's for the best because honestly, like I would have gotten so fat if they kept it on the menu. But the loaded curly fries because it was like the bacon
Oh,
cheese,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
sour cream or whatever. Like those were so good. They brought them back kind of, but they are. I want to say they're called Diablo fries or something like that, but it's like it's got a hot sauce on it now instead, and I don't like that. I just wanted the bacon and the cheese.
I don't like the hot sauce stuff.
And that
trends.
ranch. It was
It's
bacon,
like-
cheese, and ranch is what it was.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
The bowl.
Yes.
There's a bowl. Oh.
Bowl.
Yes.
I liked those. I really liked those because I would get those and I would get a gyro.
Yes.
And honestly, again, it's probably for the best that they didn't keep it
I
on the
mean,
menu
yeah,
because I would have kept going
for your
and
well-being.
I would have been like 20 pounds heavier by now. But it is what it is.
bowl.
So now we got to open this with. Speaking of 20 pounds heavier, how's your data store?
Bowl.
It's like I had no way of like back when we had like missing items for the menu. I'm like, speaking of backups,
Speaking of missing
speaking
items.
or speaking of bringing things back, was gonna be that.
I actually was waiting for you just to go in and hit it as soon as he asked me about Arby's. Just hit it.
Welcome to Hostility Morning Show. I'm your host John, joined here today by.
Nathan.
Steven.
Matthew.
Now you guys got me all hungry talking about food and everything beforehand.
It's not like you don't have an Arby's cup sitting right in front of you.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right now.
I did eat before, but like again, you talked all this great food and trying to bring stuff back, kind of like your data.
What about my data?
Well, I've heard you had a couple of experiences over your lifetime where some things may have gone missing and some massive amounts of panic and pandemonium because there may or may not have been a backup solution.
Yeah, the first time's the worst. After that, you kind of get used to it. Because like I like to tinker with my computers for sure. I like
Well,
to break my.
So you're saying you had to first go through every stage of grief.
Yeah.
Before you're now just like it's just part of life.
Absolutely. I think for me, like the losing data started very early on, with the GameCube and memory cards, and memory cards getting corrupted.
Yes.
Like I would love to return to the state of gaming to where we have physical media again, if it's like key cards or something like that, where the data is actually on the card, and so you have the game, you can play it offline, that kind of thing. But one thing that I do not want to go back to is memory cards. Those were awful. Those were terrible. That was an awful time. Like there's something fun about like swapping them out and doing all that, but losing your saves every other week, terrible.
Were memory cards? I mean, was it based off of like the flash memory, like the SD cards?
I think
or something
so.
Like that?
Yeah, it was early.
Basically.
It was early Flash.
But
Early
like
Flash.
if you even looked at it wrong before you turned the console off, your data's gone.
It wasn't the good quality flash.
Oh yeah, no, I imagine
yeah, like
not.
but the Sony memory cards were very prone to it. Now the ones that were built like tanks, I never had a problem with any of them corrupting, except for a couple like really janky like Nyko third party ones. But it was the N64 memory cards. Those things like you can put them through the washing machine, they're fine.
See
They
that?
just work.
Yeah,
because
I
Nintendo
never-
plastic is like indestructible back in the day.
I mean, I'm pretty certain they use the same plastic Nokia does.
I don't think I ever, for whatever reason, I never used memory cards with my N64. Like, 'cause I just, I
Oh, were you
probably-
one of those people that just left it on all the time?
No,
You should try hard. He didn't leave it on all the time. He just finished games.
No, I mean
in a
I
single
just saved
sitting.
games on the cartridge. I mean,
When you could.
yeah,
Because not every game you could actually,
Well, I
from my
mean-
memory, you couldn't save, or you had very limited saves on
you
the
definitely had
cartridge.
limited saves. But
And
I mean,
it
I was
definitely
I've
depended
always
on
been,
the game.
Yeah,
I was
for
always
sure.
that type of game. It's like I'm just playing one playthrough at a time, and then I would finish. It's like, okay, I'm done now. And then if I start a new one, I just start a new one. Like I'm not gonna keep that one and go back.
No, the first console that really impressed me though, that was like, guys, we're in the future. That was that original Xbox. When it
Yeah.
had the hard drive in it. It was
Yeah.
like it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
there.
Yep.
Everything's there. There's nothing else you need.
Yeah,
You
because
just buy-
that's like because my consoles were Sega Genesis, N64, and then OG Xbox, Xbox 360. So like that, Sega Genesis, I don't think it had.
That was
memory
back in the days of
cards.
passwords.
okay. It had memory
it
cards, but
have-
it had a special memory card that had a screen on it that you can interact with.
Yeah,
No,
see,
that's
I
the
never,
Dreamcast.
Never.
He's
Oh,
talking
so-
about the Genesis.
Oh, the Genesis.
Genesis,
Sorry.
No,
yeah.
my brain went there too.
Yeah.
And then it was like,
No,
you went
the
from the Dreamcast to the
Genesis
64.
did not have. I'm actually trying to think. I don't think it
think it
had
did.
memory cards. I know it had cartridge saves because
It
I
definitely
remember.
had cartridge saves.
I
yeah.
know because my copy of Battletoads back then was always full. Because again, I had many siblings who all loved to play that game and
I know
overwrite
for
each
a
other's
fact that it
saves.
did because I tried that. I got stuck on one particular level of Echo the Dolphin, and I could not get past it, and I just went back to it over and over and over.
Did you ever
again.
beat the Alien Queen?
Alien Queen on what?
Echo the Dolphin?
No,
At the
I
very
never
end
got
of
that far.
Okay.
Yeah, no, never.
Well,
never got
if
that
you
far.
ever want to get back to that, maybe if we take a copy of your saves and store them in another location, you can always be able to go back and relive your childhood memories,
like backing it up,
like backing it up. Steven?
what kind of a location should I back it up to, Jonathan?
Well, so that kind of depends. But before we kind of go into what methodologies you could use, do you guys even understand what backups are?
It's when the,
Yes.
the little light starts flashing, and then you hear the little like beep, 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 and then like
Yeah, it's when
the
you
commercial
save-
vehicle is backing up.
Yeah.
Oh,
backing
yeah,
up, yeah.
yeah.
I thought it was when you just saved copies of stuff to an external hard drive
That
and you put it in a drawer.
basically that
That's
you,
too inconvenient. I just leave it in my computer.
Oh, you just leave it there all the time
Yeah.
running? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
oh,
fair.
good heavens! But no, the simple definition literally is just, a backup is just a separate copy of the data that you use. That's it. And that's kind of what we're gonna somehow discuss today after we went through that tangent. But no, we wanted to really kind of go over backups, but not from a business perspective. This is more from a personal perspective, like how you use them or what methodologies do you guys follow or just programs, tricks, things of that nature of important data that you guys want to keep long term, what do you guys do to actually protect it?
I would like to give a PSA before we get started, if I may.
Okay.
Everyone, as I'm speaking to the audience now, do as we say, not as we do.
And even
unless
sometimes.
unless
There's
you,
going to be things you hear that are not correct.
unless your method is either just saving files to your downloads folder, everything we tell you is going to be better than that.
Most everything.
If,
I
if
would
your-
say yes.
If your backups is your downloads folder and your sent folder and your drafts folder, yes, everything we tell you is going to be
But
better than that.
especially if your backups is your recycle bin, you need to listen especially close.
Agree.
All right, continue.
My head already hurts from everything I just heard.
Okay, now hear me out.
Okay.
Out. This may be something for the next episode, but hear me out. All right. Sync thing. But
Mhm.
what you are syncing is the downloads folder between your devices.
I mean, you could do that.
Good tooth.
Why? I don't know, but 100% you could do that. My downloads folder would be the worst thing to sync between all the machines.
God, what if you did sync your recycle bin between your computers and you just
Don't give people ideas. Don't do that.
You
His
just-
was bad enough.
How do you
you
break
set up like a
Windows?
system D service with a rsync job to like sync your trash folder between devices. That would be awful. It'd be so bad.
Actually,
God, no,
I
you
don't
sync
know if
thing.
rsync actually would do that because it has to be on a shared directory for it to be able to read it, or it has to be on a file host, which recycle bins usually aren't. Those are stored just on the local PC, not on a centralized location.
Use sync thing to sync all your recycle bins, but then on some but not all of the computers, set up crap, I'm blanking. Disk cleanup to where it empties the recycle bin as one of the items.
Survival of the fittest.
Oh my Lanta.
and then just let it go and see what wins. Sync
All right,
thing or
let's-
Windows.
If it doesn't survive the random cleansing, did it need to survive?
Let's pull this back just a little bit here. All right. Away from the purge.
Okay, so for some like actual good advice, I think the first thing to clarify is that when we're talking about backups, first you need to understand what you're backing up
Yep.
or like what your goal is, because I think there's two ways that you can approach this, like two overall like
Mhm.
big ways. There's backing things up, so there's redundancy. There's keeping like a copy of a bunch of files or whatnot, and then there is backing up because you want to save data. So you are data redundancy or data preservation.
Or data hoarding.
Or data hoarding. Yeah, I think I don't think you can have too much data, but maybe that's just me.
In my opinion, I don't disagree, except when it comes to email. When it comes to email, yes, 100%
Email
you
can die, and I think I've been pretty consistent.
Yeah,
on that.
the other thing I want to hit on, like quickly before we get too heavy in there, is if you heard of something called RAID, that's not a backup.
No, it's not.
But I was reliably informed that RAID 0 is all I need.
You were misinformed, sir.
You were informed by someone or some platform of that, possibly.
Because lower numbers are better.
They were wrong.
So anyway, you've got and that was a joke for the listeners, like genuinely, that was a joke. But you have backing up data, you have data for data preservation, then you have the state preservation side of things. So saving the way that you have software configured or some software set up and installed.
Or like if you like for me when I run a home lab, I have a bunch of VMs and containers that it saves certain states.
Yeah,
as
so this
well.
is where things like snapshots
Yep.
and things like that would come into play. And that's, I think, that to a slightly lesser degree is where I fall down on this thing, because that's what I'm most concerned with is how can I, let's say that my computer does die or I do something to nuke it, which happens roughly once a year, right?
There's a non-0% chance that will happen.
Yeah, exactly. How do I spin up a fresh install quickly and then get my stuff back? Most of my stuff, in quotation marks, my stuff is code, it's text files, and that's all stored in GitHub. So I have like an offsite location for it. We can make the argument whether or not like a third-party service counts as a backup, but I will be able to access it elsewhere. So if my laptop dies, I have a copy of it somewhere that I can pull from. What I'm more concerned about is how can I get my laptop, my desktop, whatever, back into the state that it was in so that I can do stuff. I haven't gone to the trouble of setting up snapshots just because I don't see the need to do that, because I do, like, one of the things that I do when I'm tinkering is I make mistakes. And so having that clean slate is sometimes a really good thing, even if I didn't plan on it. So what I've focused more on is having scripts set up. In this case, I've been playing around a lot with Ansible, which is a
Mhm.
tool for automating
Yep, it's really good.
deployment of stuff on Linux, and you can use it for Windows, but I haven't personally.
It works
Um,
pretty well on Windows. Windows, it can be a little hit and miss, especially since you're having to use the PowerShell backend for
Mhm.
a lot of it. Um, it's good, but it's not great, is what I'll say.
Okay, but this is where, like, there's two philosophies that you can take coming into this of disasters struck. How do you get your computer back into a working state? You can have it to where you have a script of some kind, or a multitude of scripts that you can run against your computer, and those will automatically get it to the desired state to where you can get back to working. Or you can have a snapshot set up to where it will just restore everything as it was, and then you can pick up where you left off.
Yeah.
Um,
For the layman though, I'm gonna go with actually even a more simpler method. Like this is something that I'd recommend to my friends and my family for years. It's like, look, a lot of the guys that I hang out with, I'm extremely techie. They're not. They use their smartphone to scroll Instagram, look at Marketplace, and then message a few friends.
they may not even know what a file is.
They care what do they want to keep? It's their pictures mostly. That's
Mhm.
all they want. So for those instances, and like there's a multitude out there. What I tell them is like, look, if you're on an iPhone, you can use Apple's cloud, or what I actually recommend because it was the cheapest for the longest time. Like, just go get a Google Drive account, sync it to your photos folder, and then it'll automatically keep everything in the cloud for you, and it will keep versions, things of that you don't really have to worry about. If that's something that you would prefer not to actually have in one of like the big three or a larger corporate cloud, there are other services like Backblaze is one that I use for years.
Mhm.
That's very cost efficient.
None of these are sponsors, by the
No,
way.
no, none of these are sponsors. These are just things that I have recommended to just friends and family that I know it works well. If you want to upgrade from I'm saving it to either a separate hard drive I have to plug in occasionally, or God forbid, I'm saving it to a thumb drive.
You might
The
as well just not save anything
Yeah,
at that point.
these are great alternatives that it's one of those you set it up once and you pretty much forget it. You pay the monthly bill and your stuff is just there. That's kind of what I've seen a lot of people really kind of track to, and that's one of the easier adoptions of. I'm not gonna say formal backups, but a form of backups. Because there is a methodology. It's the 3-2-1 method, which is you have 3 copies of data. Uh, 2 of them are in separate locations. One of those is offsite. So that data is always there and available to you, but not everyone has that infrastructure to use it. And so it's like when it comes to protecting data, you can go as complicated as you want, or in reality, you can follow the keep it simple, stupid method, and just go, hey, look, this is the data I am not willing to lose. This is what I'm willing to invest in to protect it. There's options for you. It just all depends on what you're willing to put into it.
And like to your point about, or your example of people who like the thing that they're really only interested in and keeping is pictures. Because I mean, I would say that, people I know that fall in the same boat. That's the primary data that anyone's really concerned about. Um, it can be as simple as, I think I've talked about it before. Of like if there's stuff that it is critical and non-negotiable, like this, I have to maintain this for sentimental reasons, for whatever reason. You can have and this kind of goes towards the 3-2-1 method, because for clarification, the 3 copies part of it, one of those copies is the raw data. So you
Yes.
have the data, right?
Mhm.
You have the file, you took the picture, and the picture got stored on your phone. So that's number one. That is counts towards the 3. There's the original. Then there's the 1 copy, then there's the other copy. And
Yep.
the 2-1 part is you have the first copy, usually locally somewhere.
Yeah, it's usually
local,
on site,
and then the other copy, by the rule, just needs to be off site, ideally, so that if something happens to the first copy, then you have the second one and it's somewhere else, so that all that stuff. So I mean, I'm a fan of, for pictures, go get a nice hard drive. don't go get the cheapest off the shelf, external. Get there are nicer ish ones. There is a somewhat of a quality range when it comes to external hard drives. So splurge a little, get a nicer
Yeah.
one, a more reliable one. But yeah, just have cold storage of that kind of stuff, because pictures usually they're meant to be. You're not changing it. I mean, if you're a photographer, and I think it's funny. I didn't realize this article that you linked from Veeam talking about the 3-2-1 method. I didn't know that it was actually started by a photographer.
Mhm.
They're what was it Peter Krogh, Krogh, is credited with first conceptualizing the 3-2-1 method, which does make sense because professional photographers, like, they are,
Mm-hmm.
that's their profession. Their pictures they come up with, it's their profession, so it's very, very important.
That's the data
to,
they're trying to preserve.
maintain them.
Yeah.
But especially with pictures, like, even if you are a photographer, you're going through the trouble of, so you take the raw photo, you are most likely doing some post processing and then generating a final form of that photo. But I would say, more often than not, that's the final form. Like, you're going through all the trouble to edit it once, and then more often than not, you're not going back, and it's not impossible. I mean, I've done it myself. I'm an amateur. I'm not a pro, obviously. But more often than not, you're not editing it again. So you generate that final form of the photo, and then you just want it to be safe and stay the way it is forever and have access to it. So cold storage for photos, I think, is a very viable method of backups. Like, that can count as your first copy that's on site, right? So you just put it off on some reliable storage that you can disconnect, put it in a fire safe, put it somewhere safe, put it in a safety deposit box if you really want to go crazy. And then you can have your second offsite method be one of the cloud storage options, whether it be, like you said, one of the big three or Backblaze or something like that. Something that, because it's also very handy. Like, backups don't have to be strictly utilitarian. They can be have a level of convenience to them as well. Like, if you decide to use OneDrive, Google Drive, something like Apple iCloud,
Mhm.
that there's a convenience to that, because yeah, you may have copies of it on your phone, but you may not have all copies of everything on your phone. But if you have it all in one of those, you have the app. You can go on there and you can access. You can show people. You can, send it to people. Do stuff with it through that platform while it's still technically acting as a backup source.
Yep. And that's for 90% of people. That's really like all you have to consider.
Mhm.
For that small 10% that are closer to me,
For
actually,
the real ones.
I'll say
I say more like 5%.
no, I'm gonna go to 8% that are not to me yet. We'll say that's not quite to my level, but you're a little more tech savvy, and you really kind of want to protect your data a little further than that. I mean, as Stephen mentioned, a good hard drive that you can plug into a computer is great. The next best thing is, in my opinion, it's a NAS. Either one that you bought.
Network attached storage.
Yeah, network tap storage. So that it's literally just a little box you stick a bunch of hard drives into. You do a base configuration, which I mentioned that thing called RAID a little bit ago, which is grouping a bunch of drives together to make a larger storage pool. To be able to use to store like your photos, your videos, just important data in a nice central location. You can do that. I mean, there's many providers out there, like a few, again, not sponsored, but Seagate has one, Synology, Western Digital, Ugreen has quite a few ones. Even now Unify has their own NAS solution that you guys can buy off the shelf. It has great support, really good features to it, and not only can it store your data, it can also back up your data. Most of them come with a backup utility built in. And those that don't know, if you're on a Windows computer or an Apple, they have backup utilities in there. Windows has its own backup. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's better than nothing. Obviously, Apple has iCloud, and they have all of their different device utilities that they can use to point to, again, a NAS, a cloud. It doesn't really matter. These are all things that you can either utilize now, or you can use a function like what I do, which I have multiple NASs that's running a software called TrueNAS, which is free and open source. It has its own backup utility in it, so I have multiple NASs here that all go to a central backup server that then syncs to Backblaze via rsync, and it's one of those things that I just don't think about. It's kind of a set it and forget it. You do have to check in on it to make sure backups are still occurring. That's still important. So there is some management you have to do when you go with this level of complexity, but it's not outside the realms of impossible. You're not having to dump thousands of dollars into it. If you have an old computer, you can build one of those boxes, run TrueNAS on it, and you can be up and going in, maybe an afternoon if you're really tech skilled. If not, like less than a week. YouTube and Google can really get you through the majority of it. And without a lot of capital up front, you can have a really robust backup solution to store all your important data right there for your home.
Yeah, I think it's like Steven said, it definitely depends on how much like time and money you want to
Yeah.
put into it. Like for me, photos is definitely, I think, the most important thing that I'm supposed to hold on to, and that's one of the things that I haven't taken the time to set up something like Image or a self-hosted solution. So that right now, since I have always had and probably always will have an Android phone, I just use Google Photos for that right now.
Yep.
Everything else is either a home built solution, if you will, like with SyncThing for syncing files between devices, or it is a open source. Like I've actually done some looking into for that. So that would be Nextcloud for other files and stuff like that. Eventually, I would like to move the photos to Nextcloud, but we'll get there.
I mean, it works really well. I've used it in the past. I use Image now because it just, again, I want simplicity.
Yeah.
Now to go to the 2%ers there, if you really want to go super nerd on this, I'm not even going to touch on the enterprise stuff. Like, yeah, you can go to Veeam, you can go to all those other really, really cool backup softwares. That's more for business. I don't see much purpose even in a home lab why you have to use those when you have everything else available on the market. But one, I was watching an interesting video because I'm not a data hoarder. I like to preserve data that I feel one day is not going to be accessible due to the markets that it exists in, and that's for some video games. But a guy actually made a really, really cool video of how to back up Xbox 360 digital in the games to physical Blu-rays.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where it's like, yeah, I mean, you can take that similar methodology of, hey, your pictures. A hard drive really only has a guaranteed lifespan of about 10 years. A Blu-ray is at least 20 years. So if you have a Blu-ray drive or even an older DVD drive, you can burn DVDs. They last almost just as long. You can burn important data to those. The one thing past that it's a significant cost increases. You can go back to tape recorders and the actual tapes themselves. They are expensive, but I believe it's like a 30 or a 50-year guarantee. So that really important data that you want to ensure it lasts basically your lifetime, there's options for you. It just really all depends on how much you're willing to invest and how important that data is.
And I think some classifications of data that uh, people may not always think about as, I mean, they know it's important. They don't think about it in this sense of oh, I need a backup copy of it, or don't know how to achieve that level of backup copy of it. Stuff like if you think about it, like your resume. If you're
Mhm.
one that if you think that even in your career, like you'll change jobs, or your resume is an important thing, and some people spend a lot of time and effort getting it tailored to they're on the job hunt and they really want to put together a good resume, and you spent that time investment putting it together. You don't want to have to recreate that in 3 or 4 years, like if you decide to change jobs, but you lost, your computer died or something, and oh crap, my resume was on there. Now I've got to spend 6 hours, going back through and recreating and remembering everything, all that stuff. That's an important document. If you have to have maintain digital copies of some of your other personal documentation,
Like tax
the
documents.
tax thing, yeah.
That's an important one.
If you have a
Or
home and you have mortgage documents, if
Mhm.
you have insurance documents,
or one that a lot of people don't think about, family documents like grandma's recipes.
yep,
Like
absolutely.
like again, if that's just written pages, digitize those, stick it in a nice backup
Mhm.
solution in a cloud or somewhere that you trust.
Yep.
Like, if you really want to preserve that, there are such easy ways right now that you can do it at either a low cost or sometimes no cost,
Mhm.
which is stuff that you
But
already
those would
have.
be like aside from, pictures is like we said is the easy thing.
Yeah.
That's like the universal. Virtually everybody has that as a category of important data. They can relate to that. These are just some other examples of things that people might not think about initially. Of, oh man, yeah, that is something that I want to guarantee remains, that I want to guarantee is somewhere and is safe, and I don't have to worry about a computer dying or my phone dying and losing this important stuff.
And I think that these days, especially if you're looking at it from a consumer standpoint, it really is that your phone dying
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the most realistic scenario. And as has been mentioned, I like, for me, my backup solutions are I'm Apple, so I have iCloud, and I as kind of an example, when I got married, one of the first things I did was shared my iCloud account, this is a family account, with my wife, and then went through all of her devices and turned on backups. Because
Nice.
the regardless of what your opinions are, an iCloud backup or a Google backup is better than no backup,
Mhm.
and is vastly superior to no backup. And if you're somebody who you want to have minimal cost, because the reality is backups are going to cost. There's always going to be an extra cost there. In our opinion, that cost is justified. Whether, especially if you're heavily reliant on data on your phone, the reality is there's a high probability your phone's going to get destroyed.
Yep.
Very high
And that's
probability.
hundreds to thousands of dollars to get that data back.
John,
So
Assuming you
John wouldn't
can.
know anything about that.
no idea. No, I definitely didn't have a phone that took a dip in a lake, and I may have lost like a year's worth of photos.
Mhm.
So if you are on the Google platform, I want to say, and all of these for both Apple and Google, they're actually very competitive. Their costs are roughly, you're looking at an average of about $10 a month for the entire backup of your phone. And that is, I cannot stress enough how highly I recommend that. For me personally, what I also do is and I don't do this as consistently, but then again, I'm not really changing stuff on it that consistently because most of what I'm doing is browser based. But I also have a time machine. I have an SSD uh, external drive that I just have time. I turn on time machine. I plug it in every so often, does its thing, eject it,
I
and off
will
we go.
and I think that this has been proven. I'm not always the biggest fan of uh, Apple's solutions for their in-house solutions for everything. But the one thing that I will condone and I will definitely support is if you are a Apple user and you have no intention in your life of ever changing that. If you're, to the day you die, you're going to have a MacBook and an iPhone and all that. Time Machine is great. It does work as long as you stay on that platform.
Mhm.
If you're just gonna get a new computer and it's going to be a Mac, cool. Yeah, Time Machine's great. But yeah, the Time Machine mechanism and oh god, I'm blanking on it. Crap. Migration Assistant, because those effectively use
Yes.
the same
Yes.
mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, two of the most rock solid best pieces of software that have ever been made ever. Period. Like, yeah, that is one thing I will wholeheartedly agree with you on. As long if we're talking about that box, that little group of people.
And see, that's where like the things that I chose, like Google Photos, I can access that through a browser. I'm not locked into a specific device. It does play very well with
Mhm.
Android, so that's kind of why it's convenient. But then like the reason why I chose other things like SyncThing, focusing on scripts to reproduce an environment versus trying to take snapshots is because, again, like what Steven's saying, this is a more platform agnostic route. Because I like to change things up. I also like to not tinker with things from time to time. So I have the best of both worlds where if I want to change a platform, like if I want to move from Debian to Arch or something like that, I'm not super locked into Debian. Or like a Windows computer or a Mac computer. I can move my data pretty much wherever I want. And I have that flexibility. Now, with that, like we were talking about earlier, it depends on how much time and money you want to put in this kind of thing. it does require a little bit of a time investment up front to understand how you're going to do these things. It's not just like I click a button
Yep.
and then it's all done. I can do that now for the most part, but that's because I took the time to set
Yeah,
it up
and
that
one
way.
important thing is once you get this set up, you need to test and know how to recover your data when that time eventually comes. Because it's awesome that, hey, yes, you have your data backed up somewhere. That's great, cool. But it is worthless to you if you can't get it back.
Mhm. This is like doing fire drills, right?
Mhm.
Like there's a reason why fire drills are a thing and why you practice those in the event of an emergency. If you haven't practiced anything in the event of emergency, you're just like, well, I have enough of a plan. This should work, but you don't test it. That's a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So I do have a question.
Okay.
And this mainly and Matthew, I'm sure you'll have an opinion on this too, Jonathan, Stephen. What I am looking at for me, the next step is going to be a NAS. I just obtained current level photo and video hardware capabilities, which means I'm going to need a lot of storage. And since I'm going to need a lot of storage, I'm going to go ahead and go with the NAS route. What is y'all three's? John's probably got the most opinion on this one. We'll see if I'm right or wrong. What is y'all's three's opinion of 2-bay versus 4-bay NAS? I'm not going 6-bay or more. That's just too much for
So,
what I need right now.
The easy answer is 4. One reason why, it's the expandability. If you only need 2 drives worth of storage right now, awesome. But when your data grows, because your data always grows with you to some extent, whenever you need to finally expand that and you're looking at the cost, it is still cheaper to add additional drives versus, well, that 2-bay. For you now to expand that, you either have to replace the drives, which here's the gotcha. If you want to replace those drives, you have to have another location to store all your data while you swap the drives out and then bring all that data back. The 4-drive bay, awesome. You have 2 drives right now and you want to double your storage, you can put 2 additional drives in, or you can put 2 bigger drives in, move the data over, and you can now have 2 separate pools, or you can pull the 2 other smaller drives out and put 2 of the other larger capacity ones in. Awesome. You have that flexibility, expandability to grow with you. I strongly encourage people, unless you don't consume a lot of data, the go-to is always the 4-bay if you can afford it.
Even then, I would definitely say the 4-bay for sure. If for no other reason than you go ahead and fill the 4-bays
Yeah.
and then set up some sort of RAID solution. Because like
Mhm.
for me, like I can't speak to you. For me, if I was going to set up a NAS, this would be more of like a data backup, semi-archival kind of situation. I'm not going to be touching it a whole lot. I am going to be sending a lot of stuff to it, and in that case, I would definitely want 4-bays, set it up in like a 2x2
Yeah.
RAID where you have that redundancy within the NAS as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it
Because
go
that's
ahead.
one of the things. Yeah, I was just going to touch on that a little bit too. Because it basically simple is that with 4-bays, that gives you now with a 2-bay, you only have one RAID option, which is just mirror. It's just you put 2
Well,
4 terabyte
mirror or
drives
stripe.
in.
That's it.
Well, okay, yeah, you have. We're not counting that though. I mean, yes, it's RAID, but
It's not RAID.
that's the danger zone RAID. That gives you
I
speed.
want to go
not,
fast,
yeah.
not reliability.
But as far as like what we're talking about, wanting data integrity, you have one option, which is RAID 1, which is you put 2 4 terabyte drives in, you have 4 terabytes of storage, because when you write a file to it, it makes just a copy on each drive. So with 2-bays, that's your only option. With 4-bays, even most NAS solutions give you at least the rudimentary options of RAID 5 and 6, and then 10, I think, is
Yes.
another option.
Yep.
Which that's just if you have 4 drives in there, RAID 5 is
You can
there's
lose one.
One of those drives is the parity drive, and it writes the data across the other 3 and then saves the parity to the one drive. So you lose a little bit of max capacity, but not as much. RAID 6 is just the next level up, where you can lose 2 drives at one time and your data's not gone, but it's another hit on your max data capacity. And if you put 4 terabyte drives, you have 16 terabytes. RAID 5 is going to give you, could be totally wrong, it's ballparking, but something like 12 terabytes total. RAID 6 is going to only give you like 10 or 8 or something like that total. It's those kind of numbers as far as like your net storage you're going to have. and then RAID 10 is going to be, I think, similar to RAID 5 as far as that
It is.
hit. Um, but anyway, so it gives you those options to, if you're not only concerned about the data being in a place where it's safe, but also the threats to that safe place, which is drives dying, because that happens. You get lemons sometimes, and it's not impossible for a brand new drive to die in 6 months,
Or right
um,
out of the box.
or right out of the box. Yeah,
I've had like high-end enterprise drives that I've bought
yeah.
literally be dead as soon as I plug
So
them in.
that's just one more safeguard against a potential catastrophe, setting it up in that certain way. And the 4-bay gives you those additional options. But at the same time, like John said, if you don't want to go that far, or you don't have the money to buy the 4 drives up front, then it gives you the expandability later on, where you may think right now, oh, 8 terabytes, I'll never saturate 8 terabytes. And then in 5 years you do. Cool, just buy another 4 terabyte drive, stick it in there, and then expand the pool, and there you go.
Makes
Or
sense.
or you or me who are like, I stood up 30 terabytes. That's gonna last me like 5 years.
Most people aren't you.
It
Uh,
hasn't even lasted
but at the
2.
same time, a lot of these. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw, as far as a recommendation, I'm going to say Synology.
So
For basic instances like yours, I like their platform. It's
I
simple and usable.
I actually am no longer recommending Synology because
Why?
they're being very picky about drives now. You used to be able to use pretty much any manufacturer's drives. Now you have to, they're moving very quickly into, you have to use Synology drives, which you are buying at a market. That's where they're locking you into the ecosystem, and where I don't like that, because they're also removing features from the NAS that used to be available to you. Things are starting to go away. That's where, like, okay, I'm looking at the options. Like, I found Ugreen's been pretty good, pretty
Okay.
reliable from what I've seen. Um, there's also like Terramaster and Asus Store. Asus Store is kind of the next go-to. I've been saying go with them. It is backed up, obviously, by Asus, who owns them. They
I
are
didn't like it.
we.
It depends on the product.
It depends on
Okay, okay.
Asus Store products. I haven't had any problem with. They're very customer friendly from what I've seen. They let you kind of use the device as you want to use the device. So they're a good option. One that has been growing in popularity. It's a little pricier. It's like, don't quote me on it, I think it's like a starting price of around $600. But if you really want that nice shiny box and you want the nice flashy UI and all that, the Unify NAS has actually gotten, no, it's actually gotten quite good.
You.
I know you hate Unify, Steven, but it is, again, a viable option
Do
these
you want
days.
to talk about getting locked into a platform?
Synology, what you're describing with Synology sounds like it's going the way of the printer.
Yeah.
Where instead of like something that should be so dead simple,
Mhm.
putting ink on paper, in this case, putting bits in
Well,
drives, right?
yeah,
Like
and to
they're
be fair-
going to, you have to lock it down. You have to
Yeah.
have just the right drive to do
Like
it.
HP and their ink and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And
Which,
to be
granted,
fair, like,
like-
I haven't dealt with this type of technology in a while. So my opinion and my knowledge on it is definitely dated. So I will concede that part of it. Yeah, I'm not unified.
Yeah,
You're not
but
gonna
again,
convince me on that.
that's perfectly fine.
But yeah.
These are options. These are all options. Like,
Yeah.
again, because
I think the big feature though, and I would imagine a lot, if not all of those options you mentioned probably have this, but just one of the things that I would recommend someone look at as a box to check, because I know Synology has it, I'm sure Unify has it, and I'm sure a couple other those do. Most of these NAS solutions, as of several years ago, have a cloud backup component of something. It's an additional cost. It's a subscription that you buy on top of it, but it works very similar to the solution that we sell at work, where it's you have the physical thing that you store the stuff on, and then it has a tunnel to their cloud storage, and it runs backup jobs daily, weekly, however you set it, of that data to their cloud. So you achieve that 3-2-1 backup method, or that backup strategy, and it's already built into the platform. So I would highly recommend just go with anything that has that option. And even if you don't go with that option right off the bat, look at working towards implementing that down the road.
And I know it's not the product for you, but for those that, again, are a little more tech savvy and they want to tinker and play with things themselves, again, TrueNAS is there. It's available to you. There's another alternative, Unraid, you can use as well. Unraid's a bit different when it comes to how the RAID arrays are actually built and handled.
Because it's
But
unraid.
exactly, it's where you can use a mix of basically any drive you have and just kind of there you go. So again, there's plenty of options available out to store your data, back up your data, things of that nature. It's all dependent on how much you're willing to invest, not only just monetarily, but also with your time and obviously your data, because you have to trust whatever you're storing in there is going to be accessible to you.
And I think, especially some of these like name brand options we're talking about, there should be at least some level of SLA that you're getting with this product. That they're giving you, especially if they have that cloud backup option. It may not be, enterprise grade or even business grade or what, it may not be perfect or like, oh yeah, we guarantee 100%, blah blah blah. But they're going to guarantee their product to a certain degree and warranty the data that's there, that you're storing in it to a certain point. So that could add an additional value for you on top of you managing yourself. You're offloading, at least you may justify it as enough responsibility to them to be like, yes, this makes it worth it, because not only do I not have to worry about creating the infrastructure, but I also don't have to worry about the integrity of what's there. Like if something happens to them on their side of things, they're on the hook for it.
Exactly. Well, any other closing thoughts regarding backups?
Anything is better than nothing unless it's a flash drive.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather you store your data on a floppy drive at that point.
Yeah.
Which you can still buy. They're like $12 on
So if you
on
have
Amazon.
under 1.4 megabytes of storage, what you want to do is for one, you need a USB floppy drive reader. I have one.
Mhm.
And they're pretty cheap to get, relatively easy to use. You get that, you store your files on there, and then to make sure that you don't lose it, take the floppy drive, and then you take a magnet and you stick it on your fridge so that it's always accessible.
Don't.
Ah.
Don't. Please don't.
Well, on that terrible bombshell, Stephen, close us out.
All right. Well, we appreciate y'all being here with us as we talk about these very important topics that we do, and also rant and rave about other things. If you stayed this long and you like what you heard, leave a comment and let us know. You can also hit us up on X, Facebook, Instagram, or info@hostilityinthemorning.com. We upload every other Tuesday real early on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube. If you want a one-stop shop for everything Hostile, you can find everything at hostilityinthemorning.com. And remember, have a hostile morning.